Welcome back to another episode of The Winner's Culture, where we like to highlight the journey to success instead of the glory that you often see. If you're looking at me right now, you're having a good time. It's going to be another good episode today. So I'm glad that you're here. As always, I'm just Daryl, 1R, 1Y, 1L. Don't mess that up. To my left.
Hey, y'all, it's Bondi.
And to my right.
It's just JJ.
And as always, man, another special guest, another heavy hitter in the books for y'all today. I got Tae Pryor with us, a playmaker and the DP Business Connect. That's the consultant page, right?
Yes, sir. Yes,
all right,
sir.
so he in the building with us today, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great, man. I like, I'm a big fan of y'all show. It's a blessing to be here, to be able to connect with y'all, man. Love what y'all doing, man. Keep
Appreciate that. Definitely appreciate it. How everybody feeling today, though? Y'all good? Everybody cool?
I feel like I'm a little tired. I ain't gonna lie.
I feel you.
Man, being a teacher kind of hard sometimes.
I feel you.
Yeah.
It was snapping today a little bit.
It was drawn on.
It's not even they be drawing. I told y'all, like, they be drawing, but then we teaching Shakespeare, and it's like, don't nobody want, like,
yeah, that was bothering my brother's soul. That's gonna be on the
ain't nobody trying to hear that. Like,
y'all about to get, I ain't even gonna get him started, man. Right. But that's gonna be on the Patreon. You feel me?
Right.
Y'all about to get him started. But listen, we gonna get right into this interview. Cause I don't wanna waste no time at all. When you first, I guess, when did you feel the urge that you desired to become an entrepreneur? When did this click in you? Was it a certain age or a certain moment? Like, when did that happen?
Yeah, first off, that's a great question. In regards to, when it clicked in me that, I would prefer, entrepreneurship over anything, it was a few things. One of the things that led me to entrepreneurship was growing up, I wanted to do a little bit of everything. Right? Like, we all got different dreams growing up. Like, I was a greedy young boy growing up. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I used to go to McDonald's all the time, and I told my mom that I wanted to work for McDonald's because I was greedy as shit. And then I wanted to be an actor, and then I wanted to play sports. So it's like, long story short, I wanted to do a little bit of everything, and being an entrepreneur allows you to do that because you can be a serial entrepreneur where you operate multiple businesses at one time. So just the fact that I would be able to spread my wings in a way where I wasn't locked into one lane. And just being a human and being a creative, I was able to express my, creative ability over different industries and different platforms and take advantage of just being an entrepreneur, serial entrepreneur. So being able to do a little bit of everything and not just one thing was, one of the things that led me into entrepreneurship. Another thing was when I had my first clothing line. I partnered with my cousin. He had a big buzz in the city, and where I came in at, I was the business strategist.
Okay.
I helped us, try to legitimize everything, get the right paperwork, the budget. I wrote a business plan, and I was trying to get funding for the business. And we was outside, like it was fun. Like, this was my first time being able to make money and enjoy doing it. Like, it didn't feel like work. Like, I'm riding around the city. I'm dropping hoodies off. And it was just like a dope experience because I never saw that side of making money. I was just used to working the traditional way. But we used to go to Foreman Mills and get hoodies, two for $12, $6 a piece. My aunt had bought us a heat press machine. And then we would go to Michael's and get the vinyl. And then we go back to the crib. He had all the designs, heat press, post on Facebook, Instagram, and do drop-offs all day.
And how much were you selling them for?
$65 pop.
you was selling a shirt for $65? You selling a hoodie for $65?
Yeah, did y'all hear how much he said he paid?
He was
2 for 12.
He was getting them joints 2 for 12, bro.
Chill,
Listen, that's the gem right there.
What was the name? Is that brand still active?
I mean, I don't speak on it too much.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. Situations. It's still all love, though.
Okay.
All love.
Got you.
I feel what you're saying, but that got you into it. That was your first.
Yeah, that was my first exposure to it. And it was a family member.
Yeah.
And it wasn't the best, that's why I'm leaving where it's at. It's all love.
So what you learned from that then?
That I wanted to be an entrepreneur because I like how it felt to create my own source of income and be happy to bring something to life and profit from it. In contrast to someone providing that opportunity for me, I provided it for myself.
Okay.
I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy just being out and about. Like, I don't
Right.
think humans are conditioned to sit down at a desk for 8 hours. I think, you know, when you
I
kind of
agree.
get an
Yes,
opportunity
absolutely.
to get out there and meet people like
Yeah.
here now, I think you kind of get to be yourself and you get to learn from yourself and learn from others. So that was the lesson. And the other lesson was just you know, make sure you know, do business with the right people.
Right,
Understood.
right. So
Understood.
directly after that was when you got into it for yourself, or
No,
what-
years later.
years
Wow.
later?
Years
So what
later.
that timeline look like?
Like 5 years.
So what was
Wow.
you doing in between?
I was in college.
Okay.
Got
Yeah,
it.
this is
Got
when I
it.
had first got to West Chester after that.
Right.
And I just lost, you know, control of the brand. And then from there, it was a setback, but it later on was a blessing because that led me into creating my clothing line that I have today. If I never would have been in that situation before, I never would have started PLMKR, which is, you know, now, you know, I put some work into it and it's bigger than, you know, my previous brand. So it's just a blessing to, like, you never know what the future is going to hold. And sometimes you don't know that until you get there. That's
Right.
why I think just being in the moment and understanding and being positive to know things are going to work out for the better
Yeah.
is going to save you a lot of stress, because I wouldn't have been worried if I knew I was going to have my own brand one day
Right.
instead of stressing and feeling like, damn, but here we are.
Right.
So another thing I was gonna ask, you already kind of touched on it. What does that mean, playmaker? Because I know it's not just, you know, something that you just developed. It actually is a meaning behind it. For the people that don't know, could you let them know what that meaning is and then how it came about?
Sure. So playmaker to me is an individual who faces all challenges and rises above them with relative ease. So that's what a playmaker is, and essentially anybody can be one.
Right.
So
Hold on. Where you get that definition from? You made that,
I
or,
made
or
that
that?
up. I made
Wow,
that
that's
up.
kind of hard.
yeah, a little something. But overall, the year before I started Playmaker, I was working as a mortgage loan originator, and I had a resume business. And I used to do speaking engagements. I used to go to travel to different colleges and, you know, do speaking engagements there. And I used to do resumes, and I was helping people get jobs. And then I was traveling, you know, renting nice cars and just living. And then, you know, I also was working and doing well at my job. So I was a playmaker.
Mm-hmm.
I was an individual that
Yeah.
faced all challenges and rose above them relative ease, because I was juggling multiple things, but I was also pursuing things that I was passionate about, and I always went for what I wanted.
Right.
So that's how that, you know, came about. And then how the actual brand got started was my homecoming was coming up. I went to West Chester, and I was about to spend $200 on a Nike tech suit.
Wow.
I had a plug on 5th Street. Shout out my man Julian, man, at Modern Sports.
Shout out to Julian.
I had a plug at 5th Street, and I had a Greek apparel line. I'm in a fraternity, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. So I had a Greek apparel line, and we was making our sweatsuits there. So I'm like, instead of spending $200 on a Nike sweatsuit,
Make my own.
why not I make my own? So I made a sweatsuit.
And you
Black-
wore it.
I wore it, black joint, had Playmaker on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to this meeting, and one of my guys, he like, yo, bro, that sweatsuit hot. I said, oh, yeah. And we here today. That's
Right.
how it all started. Once I heard that, I just took off and felt like, man, it's something that I could monetize, and it's something that I always wanted to get back into.
Wow.
So did you always know that your business wanted your business to be a clothing line, or how did you come across like this is going to be the, you know what I'm saying?
Not necessarily. Like, I'm more of a opportunist, like not in
Okay.
a bad way.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Like, I
You
take
saw
a-
that. Mm-hmm.
I take opportunities and I figure out how to make sense of it and monetize it. Like that transaction where I knew someone liked what I offered and what I had on, I knew I can sell it to someone else. So
Yeah.
I thought about, okay, well, I've been in this situation before with my previous business where someone liked the service we were offering, and once I know someone likes it, you market it, and then you get more people to like it, and you monetize it. So that's kind of how that, you know, came about.
Okay, so what was Playmaker like on campus? Like it was moving?
Yeah. I ain't gonna lie, and I got a lot of support from my fraternities and like other sororities. Like that's a big like
The black
back-
community stick together with stuff like that. Like when it's
Yeah.
fresh, when it's nice. Like,
Yeah,
they support.
they
Yeah.
do. And I had got an opportunity to do a pop-up shop at Lincoln, which is, you know, HBCU. I got a lot of support at West Chester, but
Even
when I
more.
went Lincoln, it was just a vibe. And once you get the support and show the support, then everybody else follow. It's kind of how it works.
Yeah. What's the most you made in a day off the?
Oh man, I'm trying to.
Off the playmaker.
I think I made
Or,
it.
or at least starting out, if you don't want to give too much information.
So earlier, yeah, I probably made 700, 800, maybe at like a pop-up shop.
In a
maybe
day?
a stack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John.
Because Westwoods go for like 100.
Right.
So it don't take much, you know,
Right.
selling them.
Right.
But no, I had a lot of plugs up there. Like even when Tiz had came up there one time, and my folks was the one who brought him up there. So I was able to get him a sweatsuit in, and then he shot at the brand out while on stage. So all of that,
Yeah, that brought you
played a
out.
heavy
Texas.
role.
Yeah.
And I'm right there vending too.
Right.
So they
came
it's just
right
all
over.
about networking, connecting, and using your resources.
Wow.
I seen Playmaker a couple of times on like all them guys, all the Philly guys.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They was
Yeah.
all wearing it at some point.
Yeah.
I said, Tay doing his thing out here, like on the marketing tip.
Appreciate that. Appreciate
Right.
that, man.
No, so another thing we wanted to ask the floor, I'm gonna open it up to everybody. I'm gonna ask you first though. Do you think people overcomplicate how hard it is, like to start a business?
This is an interesting question. It's a good question though, because like overcomplicating starting a business, I don't think they overcomplicate starting a business. I think they overcomplicate chasing their dream. Because that's essentially what a business is for a lot of people. Is
Right.
You're taking a passion and you're monetizing it, and you're turning it into something that you can make a lifestyle out of.
Yeah.
So then your lifestyle isn't work anymore because you really enjoy it. And when
Right.
you enjoy something, it's not necessarily going to feel like work.
Mhm.
So I think people overcomplicate starting a business based off of a variety of things. You can lack of exposure, right? So if you look at the resources in our community, and if you look at who owns certain businesses and things of that nature, that can be an issue there. It can also be peers and family. A lot of people may not have access to the people around them that gives them the support that you need, because it's not easy,
Right.
right? Like it's never going to be overcomplicated, because running a business is complicated. I'm going
Right.
to be the first person to tell you, like it's not easy as people may make it seem. Like it's complicated. You need the right paperwork, you need the right grind, you need to do the right research, and then you gotta have things in place for personal development, because at the end of the day, you are controlling the business. So if things aren't going right in your life, how are things going to go right in your business? So
Right.
it's complicated. It's a lot of factors. So yeah, to answer that question, I don't think they overcomplicate starting a business. I think it's more so them pursuing something that they know they want to do. They just can't get over that hump. Like, you know what you want. And even if you don't, you have a sense of what you enjoy. You just may need to run into the right person or the right crowd or the right message or the right motivation to bring it to life. And then from there, I think then that's the process of when, you know, people jump out and it becomes a hustle or becomes a business, when it's like they finally just say, hey, I want to do this. Maybe they might have seen something. They might have, you know, got inspired, or they just had something in their heart. But starting a business is complicated, man, but it's possible if you do it in the right way and use Google and YouTube.
Well, right. I think it depends on what the business is, for real. Because like, if your business is gonna be setting up a lemonade stand, like you can do that tomorrow. Like,
Right.
you can do that right now. But the more complicated the structure, the bigger you want to scale, like all those type things, it could definitely, like Tay was saying, it can be complicated. Like it's a complicated thing, because it's a lot to it. Because really, it's the key to like, it's what America was founded on. So it's so many loopholes, it's so many things, so many ways that people use it. And the more knowledge that you have about it, the better you're gonna be at it. But the more complicated it's gonna be, the more it's gonna take.
Blondie, what you think?
Well, I kind of agree with what both of y'all said. I think people overcomplicate it, but they overcomplicate it with like their feelings, like their personal feelings, like internally. I mean, and I'm one of those people too. Like I've had many roadblocks in the pursuit of starting a business, leaving a job, starting something, doing something, because like people want to start something that's not going to fail. And if you never started, it can't fail, you know?
Yeah.
And as messed up as that sounds, like, you know, that is what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of like a comforting thought, or like you know, it's just like not an excuse, but like a better word for an excuse.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people get wrapped up in their feelings. I do. So I think maybe if we people can get out of our heads, like you could just go ahead and take the leap to get it started, whether it be today, tomorrow, or at least take the leap to get the right steps in order to get something started. But it's very discouraging to take that first step if you already are internally dealing with things.
Yourself.
Yeah, like you said, a resources, just anything. So it depends.
What you think, Dave?
I think I agree with everything that y'all said. I think y'all said some really profound things and what y'all opinions were. I think one of the major things is just not having the knowledge, not having the info, because the information I think is the key. For me, like you had mentioned using YouTube and Google, but even sometimes with that, it's
what do I
this
look
person
up?
saying this thing, this person saying that thing. What do I Google? What do I, you know what I mean? I think it's just really, even that is not having the information. One of the things I've learned is there's a small business development center. It's called the SBDC, and they literally partner with people who have ideas and bring their businesses to life. That's what their program is. They help you get funding. They help you do so many different things. And it's just if you do not know this, they'll walk you step by step through the process of starting your business. But if you don't know this, you're literally trying to find everything. And then like Blondie just said, what do I Google? Or this person said this thing. This person said that. What is correct? Should I file as a tax type for the S Corp, or should I just leave it at, you don't know. There's so many different things. And I feel like sometimes you can get overwhelmed with that. And that's why I like what Ted said about it is complicated, because learning even the business structures, the different types, you can get caught up there. And then what Blondie had said is just well, I don't start it, I ain't fail. So literally what all of y'all said is just I can see it.
This another question that just came to my head, but I really want to ask, do y'all think America has complicated business?
For Black people, yes, because they don't want us to start business.
You know what I'm saying?
Say that again. Say that again.
For Black people, yes. They
so?
don't want us to start businesses. Foreign people can come here from Europe, from Asia, from anywhere. They get loans, they get houses, they get funding, they get school, they get everything. Black people, Latino people, Hispanic people, I hope I'm saying that correctly, I feel like we have the hardest time starting a business. A Caucasian person going to the bank to get a loan to start their business. Easy, no problem. A Black person, maybe, depending on where you come from, what your background is, it's oh, wait, you don't have this form. Oh, you don't have that background. Oh, you don't have this. Oh, do you have this and that? And it's you ain't just asked that white man all them questions. I heard you. You know? Crazy. It's very discouraging in America for Black people to start businesses, because they don't want us to be the top % earners of the wealth. They don't want us in that. So they make it complicated, and that creates the feelings we were just talking about, being discouraged. If you never start, you can't fail. Because who wants to be a failure in this world? In this white world of all places, you know?
Yeah, man. I agree 100%. I think I couldn't have really said it better than that. It's
right.
It's anything. It's cut out all the bullshit.
Right.
What's the issue? It's the fact that they limit our resources systematically to put us in a position where it's not the cool thing to do. And then they have an agenda on what is the cool thing to do.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We all know what that is.
So you even think the perception.
Come on, man. They think the perception, and they give you the image of who they want you to be, but that person isn't the person that is a man in their community. I think we got to talk about what a man in the community is, because I feel like the definition right now is misconstrued, right? Yeah. So a man in the community, just because we're talking about being a Black man is a leader, right? He's someone that understands his life affects the others around him. Yeah,
that's major.
He's someone that thinks long term and understands that anything instant isn't necessarily going to last. He's self-aware, and he uplifts his brother, and he takes care of his woman, and he takes care of his children. And this is just as simple as that. We don't even have to complicate it. If you take on that natural role as a man, it changes the opportunities presented to you and your family, because what you value is going to prevent you from doing things to sacrifice the things you really need to do to be the lead and head of the family.
Yeah, that's a super major point, especially the point when you talked about understanding that what you do going to affect other people. I feel like so many people live lives what you do don't affect other people. First of all, it affect yourself. You see what I'm saying? It affect I was just talking to somebody earlier about the difference between being free to choose and choosing freedom. You feel what I'm saying? Like being free to choose says I'll do whatever I want because I can, because I can. And then choosing freedom is to say like I might not do whatever I want because down the line I'm gonna have to pay the cost for that. You know what I'm saying? I want to be free in life, not free in this moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like that brought me back to that.
So I was just gonna say two things and then get off of it. To heighten what y'all said about like the exposure, like when I was walking today, I told y'all to get some stuff done with my car, but when I was walking, I saw an indoor event space that holds like tennis lessons, golf lessons, and I think it was like knuckleball or something like that, right? I have no clue. But even that is going into my point. That is a resource that is available to expose all of the kids who live in that neighborhood how to play those sports.
Right.
That's something I've never seen, you never saw, and you never saw. And literally just that alone is like not even just with sports, it's like that for other cultures with everything. Education. If you want to go and learn about architecture, oh, let's call Uncle Johnny. You know what I'm saying? That's the exposure.
His firm for today.
Right. The exposure that we already don't have the access to already puts us behind the 8 ball.
Right. So when all you see is the videos of the, you feel what I'm saying, the popping people, then it's like, I mean, that's what this whole thing is for, to show you it's people out here doing that's really doing it,
that's
and
what
it wasn't
we're here for.
and didn't take that route.
That's
what I'm saying.
And also to ease discouragement. Like,
right. To ease it, to let y'all know it's hard, but we keep going. You see what I'm saying?
That's it. And speaking of that, like,
right.
What was some of your setbacks so far? If you had any that you could speak on, what was some of your biggest setbacks so far? And then what did you learn from them?
Myself.
Wow.
I ain't gonna lie, man. Like, this is one of the questions that I thought about. I cannot blame anything external for my positioning. I can't. We're all presented with opportunities, right? Regardless of the circumstance we grow up in, we have choice. And you can choose the route even if it's harder. So a lot of things that I've done or been in certain positions, I didn't manage that position to the point where I was thinking long term enough that it set me up where I'm good. For instance, I had got a check to start my clothing line, Playmaker. I got an insurance check from a car accident. And I was writing down things that I wanted to invest that money in. And Playmaker was one of them.
Right.
So I got the money, and I did good things. I paid down some of my student loans. I tried to flip a car. I invested in Playmaker. I invested in Greek Customs, and I paid down one of my credit cards. So I'm not going to say I blew it. But because of where I was at that point in my life, I was living too fast. And the money was coming out faster than it was coming in. That's why a lot of people get the lottery and they go broke because it's a lump sum. Like if your cash flow isn't matching that money that you just got, then how are you going to be able to sustain a lifestyle? So at that point in my time, my license was suspended and I was just living fast. I was getting rentals every week because I felt like I couldn't stay in the crib. I was just going out. I was just spending my money frivolously to the point where next thing you know, you look up, and although I did those good things and my brand is still here today, I ain't had that rainy money. I ain't that rainy day money in the tuck. Gotta have a rainy day money because it's going to storm. You're going to run into situations where you wish you had 10, 20 grand to handle a situation, or you wish you had stocks, or you wish you had a house to liquidate or any type of assets because that's leverage. If you just cash rich, cash can be taken away. This is what I'm saying. So long story short, my habits and my value system set me back to the point where I'm at today is I'm rebuilding and I'm changing the things that I value, and I'm choosing to focus on more of the intangibles so that as the money continues to come in, I don't need anything extra or to impress people I don't know or to maintain an image so that I can keep more of that money home and then invest into things that are secure me in the future. So my setback was me living too fast and not managing the money that was coming my way, to the point where in the future it would save me. So just make sure you are living for yourself and you're not caught up in something that it doesn't represent you. It represent a way for you to be accepted. And people will do anything to be accepted. So love yours, love yourself, and love where you are in life.
Great, John.
I hope y'all listening. I hope y'all
Great,
listening.
John.
Can I just add to that? Even the being accepted part, not just by friends and peers, even by family. Because a lot of people set their future up to impress and be accepted by their family. And that you got to live for you, not your family. Like, they had their lives, you know?
Yeah, they try to live through you sometimes. And that's pressure because that's your mom or your pop. And you're like, damn, I want to be just like you. So I agree 100%. Agree 100%.
Can you share, like, what your mentality was going through, you know, your setbacks, building your business? Like, was it challenging? Did you have a team of support? Yeah, so, like, setbacks and stress, it's all relative. I think it just comes with the territory, but managing is very, very important. I'm definitely the type of person where just make it happen regardless of how you feel, but at the same time have a self-care routine in place. Like at one of my peaks in regards to like how much money I was making, I was waking up, I was working out every day. I was praying, meditating, journaling, fasting, and like eating the right foods, and also going to therapy like twice a week. So like that was during COVID, and it was like COVID kind of put you in a position where you had to deal with like your thoughts. It was no more like using vices to suppress how you feel or leaning on people. Like you was all you had. So I chose like to fight for my happiness, and that was the routine I did on a daily basis. And the crazy part about it is like I made the most money ever in my life at that point because I was really prioritized. You gotta fight for your happiness because there's so many things throughout the day that can steal it. Like, and sometimes it don't even be worth it. It can be a road rage. It could be somebody cut you off or something that may be bothering you from yesterday. So if you're not proactively doing things that day and on a consistent basis to boost your mood, the world gonna take it from you. Social media gonna take it from you. Your job might take it from you. So I think just fighting for your happiness and having things that you do for yourself is very crucial. Highly recommend therapy. I highly recommend journaling. I highly recommend meditation. I highly recommend exercising. I highly recommend eating the right foods. Like, it's scientifically proven that some foods can like boost your mood. It's scientifically proven that meditation can boost your mood. That therapy can. So when you put all of those and you layer them, you're at the point where it's like you're not letting the stress get you to the point where you can't do nothing because you're proactively facing it and not saying I'm here because of this or that. So that was like my self-care routine. In regards to my support, man, I got a superstar support system. Like my friends and my family, like they all legends. Like I'm super family oriented. They all played an impact of who I am and how I was able to develop like into the man I am today. Like it really take a village. Like I had the luxury of living with like a lot of different family members, and I was able to learn from their strengths and learn from the things that they wanted me to, you know, be held accountable at. Like my mom, what I got from my mom is like her heart. Like she was, you know, a single mom at like with 3 kids at 20. And like from the Philly, like from the city, it was hard. And she's Dr. Abdel Malik. Like she got her doctorate. Like wow. Shout out to mom.
She took her situation and turned it into gold. So she did it with love. She did it taking care of us and getting us into a better school district. So I learned hard from her. My sister also has her doctorate as well. She's a scientist. And my sister's got the same heart as my mom. They love me. I can confide to them. You need people you can confide to. My pop, he like me times 100 in regards to just an entrepreneur. Like he different. Like he really like business is his thing, life is his thing, and he's a great father overall. I learned a lot from my pop. Was one of the first times I had exposure of working close to a business. Like my dad was one of the first opportunities I had to even learn how entrepreneurship worked. He had a moon bounce company with Mickey Mouse and SpongeBob. And yeah, I used to get in them Jones through the little But no, that was my first exposure to it. Like, and it was dope to kind of see him take 2 costumes and turn it into 50 costumes, 10 moon bounces, and he was doing parties as far as 3 hours away. And he had over 30 employees. So that was a huge impact on me. Like at the time, I didn't realize how important it was, but subconsciously I was taking in, everything, because it's that exposure is what we talking about. I had it right there with my pop. My step pop, super sturdy as far as like finance and just like his composure. Like he's always composed, and you can learn a lot from that. When people can maintain their composure throughout different phases in life, that's how I want to be. Because a lot of stuff we be tripping off don't be worth tripping off, and then now you messing up what you working on or your day because you mad at something that ain't gonna matter tomorrow. So his composure and his financial like acumen, he's the head of the pension fund in Jacksonville City in Florida. So I learned so much from him, like just having access to somebody who knows finance at that level. And then you got my grandpa, nothing but wisdom. My grandpa, 40 years on me, but I used to spar with him mentally and just like go at him and just learn from him. And I just learned so much. Like I had a rough summer one time coming off college, and he looked at me and was like, "You ain't got no problems." Like everything I was complaining about, tripping about, he laughed and he made light. He's like, "You ain't got no problems." And I always remember that to this day because he been through it all. He got 40 years on me. They say like, experience is the best teacher in life. Learn from him. And I can go on all day. And then my homies, superstars. Anybody I'm talking to on a day-to-day basis, we think alike, we move alike, and we operate as if we're family. I think being a good person is the first like basis on how I connect with people. But outside of that, you got to want more, you got to be more, and you got to understand that group economics is the way out. I only operate in a fashion where any resources I got is yours. Anything I got going on or anything I've been through, and not just with business, I talk to my friends as men, as brothers, as friends, as family. Like, I love showing up to my friends' events and birthday parties and celebrations. But overall, man, I got a superstar support team, and I think that's really fundamental into growing as a person, especially as an entrepreneur, because I couldn't imagine my life without them.
That is beautiful.
Definitely was beautiful.
That was an excellent answer.
Straight
like,
up.
Well prepared. Like, thanks. Real rap. So, you said a lot of key points about how different people play roles in your life and how different skills and hobbies play roles in your life and about how you go about making money. So I'm gonna open the question for the floor, but to you first, how do you define wealth for yourself?
So wealth to me, I think is really important. And it's just a part of my life. It isn't just the only, like, I just want to be wealthy. My purpose is more of to influence as many people in a positive fashion to be who they are organically and to give my people a seat at the table globally and get back our culture, right? Mm-hmm. And wealth plays a big role in that because a lot of things I do or want to do is going to involve things that position us to have control and get back our communities. Like right now, if you walk into Dunkin' Donuts, who owns it? Look.
Not us.
Who owns Dunkin' Donuts? What demographic? What race?
The other brown people.
And who owns 7-Elevens?
Them too.
Gas stations.
Them too.
Nail salons. Hair stores. Where do we shop
And let me tell you, they don't want the black people in them hair stores at all. Oh my gosh. One of my girlfriend's sister just opened up. Sorry to cut you off. My girlfriend's sister opened up a hair store, I believe somewhere in the Midwest. Black, young 30s, something like that. And from what I hear, she went through a lot of hoops to get it done, but she got it done. So So then she's a black-owned hair store in the Midwest.
Congrats.
Like, you know, one of the only ones, especially. But she had a lot of trouble getting through because there's such a close-knit.
It's not easy. And it's so crazy how hard it is to get in and how easy it is to accept their money, our money, right? And that's the issue is when we support these businesses that don't pour back into our communities, then we're setting ourselves up to be too reliant on people that don't care for our children and the next generation. So if the black dollar isn't staying amongst us, then where is it going and who is it really supporting? So overall, wealth to me is important. I think every, black family should, aim for wealth because I think it gives you more of a long-term mindset instead of instant gratification because rich can be taken away. But if you got 10 cribs and 100,000 in stocks and then bonds and you got a whole life insurance policy, like you can't just come through and take that away. But your children and their children can benefit in a way where it can give them better education. It can teach them, financial literacy and just give them access to more resources where they don't have to come outside and risk getting shot on the porch. Y'all not tired of that? Is that not insane that we live in an environment where if we look on the news, is 10-year-old get shots on the porch? It's like, come on, bro. Like wealth is fixing that. Wealth is getting access to the same resources that you walk over to Allmore or you walk over to all these companies and they walking out and they walking their dogs and they just so casual looking and you go to where we at and it's nothing but liquor stores and chicken stores. They tripping, man. We got to do a sweep, come through, buy the block back and keep that money where it belongs because black culture rule the world. So that's wealth to me. It's ownership and using it in a way where we benefit and to benefit people that come after.
What y'all think?
I think we could keep it pushing, keep it 1,000, because honestly, everything that we're gonna say is really just gonna continue to improve that point. I think wealth, when you ask the question, the first thing that came into my mind is who does it benefit? And when you think about wealth, is everything that he said is literally the effort that you put in to have wealth, not to be rich, but to have wealth is literally to affect the lives that are around you and that are going to come after you. And I think everything that I would say has already been said. So, yeah.
Also, wealth just isn't monetary, though.
Right.
Like, that's a part of it. Like, that is a
right.
way in wealth. But you can be wealthy in spirit. You could be wealthy in health. You could be wealthy in, just in a lot of ways. So I think that we have to change our definition of what wealth means and not just equate it to, just having money or being rich or, expensive things, because you can have all the money in the world, but if your health is not well, how can you spend it? If your mind is not well, if, like you were talking about earlier, layering all of those things, you could be wealthy in all of those aspects, all of those steps that you took to get yourself together and be better, to create an overall, model of wealth.
Or if you had a wealth and can't make connections,
right?
You have no network, or So I agree with that 1,000%.
Yeah, I agree, 100%.
Yeah.
So when did you first you were talking about how you have a strong team, you have a lot of resources, right? When did you first realize that your resources were valuable? One, to just start group economics within your circle, but also to develop the business connect type thing.
So you speaking on the DP Business Connect and how I came about that?
Yeah.
Or my team, or a little bit of both?
A little bit of both. So to start out, you realized you had these connections and you spread them with your team.
Okay, gotcha.
Right. But you also took it further to say this is stuff that could be valuable for everybody.
Right.
How could I turn that into something?
That was another me. I'm an opportunist. There was a lot of times where I was at pop-up shops and people walked up to me, and they would be more interested in my embroidery and quality and then actually purchasing the product. So I saw that and I'm like, oh, yeah, I got it. I got nice embroidery. You want a copper hoodie or something?
Yeah.
But no. Overall, people kept saying, hey, where you do this or where you do that? Because when I was going to 5th Street, everybody was making the same sweatsuits with the same logo on there. So I had to figure something out. I'm like, what do I got to do to separate myself from everybody else that is making clothes? So I figured out a way to source my own manufacture. And then doing so, I developed a product that people liked and they wanted to know how to do it too. So I'm not the person that it's I don't want to share my resources. And a lot of people always I get a lot of, why don't you just give it away for free?
Did you get it for free?
Do you know that people don't really respect free stuff?
Yes.
That's a great point too.
Like
Yes.
that's the reality of it.
That's a
If
great
I
point.
was sitting here and giving my vendor list away for free, people wouldn't even use it because there's no sense of urgency. There's no sense of urgency. It's like when you go to the gym and you're paying for the membership, that payment every month would make you want to go to the gym. Unless you got Planet Fitness and you're paying a little dime. But, but overall, that's the reality of it, right? I wanted to figure out a way to bridge the gap between connecting people to the resources, but in a way where it still made sense for me. So that's how DP Business Connect came about. It's a consultant company I developed, and I built a clothing line starter kit. And the clothing line starter kit includes marketers, business credit funding expert, a tax advisor, a trademark lawyer, a website designer, and it also includes over 50 manufacturers. So what I basically did was not only connect people to the vendors, I connected them to the resources that they need to operate a business legitimately. It wasn't just about putting a logo on a t-shirt and selling it. It was setting my people up where they can operate a business. So when it was time to get funding from the government or time to get funding from the SBA, they had all their paperwork in order, right? You got to make sure you're tax compliant. When they're giving out these loans, they want to look at your paperwork. There's certain, government contracts you're going to get. They want to look at your operating agreement. They're going to look at your income statement. So connecting them people to the resources, and that package right there is $200. Just think about that, right? It's $200, right? To get all those resources and directions to do it. What else is $200? A pair of Nike, a pair of New Balances.
A bundle.
Come on, what we talking about?
Some lashes.
What's the deuce? A round trip to Miami? Like, what we talking about? $200? Is that really going to affect you? No, it's going to test your dedication to seeing how bad you want it. So people wanting to, taking advantage of an opportunity where I knew people like what I offered, and figuring out a way to connect them to the resources is how DP Business Connect came about. And I plan on continuing to grow in it, and it's going to be all things business.
Yeah, I think that's quite extraordinary because I don't know who page it was. It was one of them finance guys on Instagram or YouTube. And this one, I was heavy into watching the finance videos and getting the resources and all that. So I had clicked the course. I went to the website, the link in the bio, and then I clicked the course. Bro, the course said $16,000.
No. 16. I'm going up.
Bro, the course said 16.
Sorry, y'all. Y'all gotta blame JJ. Inflation, my brother.
I said, hold up. You feel what I'm saying? So I definitely, what you saying is definitely a fact. And I learned that when I was a trainer too, that people do not respect. I learned that as an engineer and as a trainer. All things that if my price was $30, people wouldn't even come to me. Like they wouldn't even come to me because just in their head, they're gonna get $30 quality. If my price $100, oh, you doing something. Like okay, I see it. It's something now. You feel what I'm saying? The higher the price go, the more they think that it's important. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, wow, this is really crazy how the mind. And I don't know if this is a good or a bad thing. It's probably a product of our society that's negative in a way.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's a product of our society that's negative because money do not equal quality. You feel what I'm saying? And obviously people's getting over. You see what I'm saying? But for our current situation, like you said, if you want somebody to value something, you can't give it away for free.
I was it's funny that he had brought this up. I was watching E.T. the hip hop preacher was talking about his conference that he has annually in Chicago, and he was talking about some of even some of his closest people that he works with, like Quincy Harris. They do a live at 3 a.m. every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I get on. And Quincy was sharing how when he met E.T. made him pay for the conference. He made him pay for the conference. And what Quincy had said though was despite I paid for my own trip to go to the conference, the money that I made from what I learned, applied, and the network that I made while I was there was well worth it. Yeah. And it's all about what you do when you obtain the knowledge. And I think that is the important part that our community kind of can't. access, and I think it's a reason for it, like how we often are exposed to people who flourish in other things outside of music and sports, which is another reason why we're here. But I think when you don't have that in front of you, you are already skeptical. You're like, I don't know. But literally what you guys have said, it does test to see, like, how bad do you want this? How bad do you really want this?
100%.
So what's next for you? What's your next? What you got going on now? What's next?
Man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm different, right? Because to be completely honest, I have too many things going on right now, but I couldn't stop if I wanted to.
Right.
Like, I can't turn down something I believe in, regardless if I shouldn't take on it, because I'm gonna figure it out either way. Like right now, I got, I do the Turo. I'm tapped in, with PLMKR. I'm tapped in with dpbusinessconnect, and then I'm tapped in with with the Royal Honey, and then I'm also a business strategist. I got a 360 camera, and my homie has a moon bounce company in Orlando, so I'm tapped in with them there. So I got all this going on, and I was just recently working too. So it's like I was doing that and working, but I just
Ain't you forgetting the business?
The consultant.
Nah. What about the hookah?
Yeah, that's what I was about to bring up. So my most recent venture, and I ain't gonna lie, y'all, this is dope. I'm gonna keep it true. I moved from Philly to Orlando, and I wanted to build down there the same way I've been building in Philly. I already had a network in Orlando, so it was easier to make the connections because I was building. That's why I chose to move in Orlando. That's why I chose to move to Orlando, right? Because of the network I already developed there, and I knew people, and it made the transition easier. It's not easy leaving home.
Right.
Everybody like, move.
Right.
Man, it's not easy. But anyway, in regards to actually taking advantage of this new city and this new opportunity, I had a friend, and he had a friend in Detroit who had something called To Go Hookah. So he's like, yo, let's bring it to Orlando. And I'm like, I ain't gonna lie, I low-key, I didn't know how serious he was about it. So I'm like, all right, bro, like, we can do your To Go Hookah, bro. So a month later, he partnered with two of our other homies, Bino and Few, and they put the first order in. And I'm like, I called him like, yo, bro, what's up? Like, I'm like, yo, I need parts. Like, y'all trying to leave me out. They like, I don't know, because they didn't really know who I was. So I had to convince them, like, bro, you know who I am, blase, blah, whatever. So long story short, once we brought that product to Orlando and tested the market, that's the hottest thing I got going right now. Is To Go Hookah.
Like the prime place for it.
And it came from someone else's idea and me moving out my hometown.
Right.
If I never would have moved to Orlando, I never would have been in that position to make that connection.
Right.
I never would have started my businesses here. I never would have had the business acumen and strategy to be an asset to that company. So everything added up to position myself, because now that I'm in Orlando, I can make some money from Orlando. We take that money, buy some properties. Now I'm getting paid from Orlando forever. Then we go to Texas next. Let's get some money out Texas. You think I'm not going out Texas to tap in with my man Bruce?
So
Come on, man. Me and Bruce, we tapped in too.
What is To Go Hookah?
So To Go Hookah is hookah in a cup, and you can take it anywhere you want to go, right? You can take it in the car,
In the pool.
parties. You can put it in a little coaster.
Like a little personal.
Yes.
It's a personal.
I like that.
It's a vibe.
It's not dirty.
It's slide and vibe. That's what it's called.
That
Cleaner.
exactly.
Slide and
Hate
vibe.
sharing hookahs.
Yeah, we got candy tips. I don't know if you ever heard of candy
I
tips.
do.
Yeah.
I know. I do know.
But no, that joint right there is the next thing, up and coming. We actually are supposed
JJ
to
face
land
look
this
like
big
mine.
event.
JJ face looked like mine. When I saw the video, I was like,
That
Dang.
is smart.
Oh, for real?
That is so
I was
smart,
thinking
though.
the same thing. Like, if I could have just gave a certain amount for a little 4%, I'd have been happy.
Man, we might be able to work something out, man. Make a couple calls. What we doing?
Seriously. But it was funny because when I saw that and didn't even listen to what you had said today, as far as like when you had spoke about everything happening for a reason, for the greater good, and you believe in that, and you initially getting exposed to entrepreneurship because you wanted to do some of everything. And literally that's what you're doing. You are doing some of everything. And I think even how DP Business Connect came about, it's like you said you were doing resumes for people, and now you're providing the resources still to people. You know what I mean? So your story, what you started out doing, those same things you're still giving to other people. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's an incredible thing to say, like, all right, not only did you start this because you wanted to do some of everything, but you kind of wanted to do something for other people, which is kind of crazy to kind of analyze it that way. Like all of your businesses, you wanted to provide something for other people, whether it was providing the aspect of the culture through fashion or helping people to obtain a job to provide for themselves or their families through resumes. And now DP Business Connect, like it all ties into helping other people, which is a pretty dope thing, I think. So I guess if it was somebody that you could just speak to or talk to that was considering jumping out there into entrepreneurship, or maybe they scared, maybe they frightened, whatever the case may be, what would you say to those people if you had the opportunity?
So I got to thank you for that comment because it made my day. I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm at the hardest point of entrepreneurship in my life. So any positive words and affirmation could be the thing that get me going. So I appreciate that, because when you do all those things, you're hard on yourself because you never feel like it's enough.
Yeah.
And I don't look at the things I've accomplished enough because I'm not even at 1%, but it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It's progressive because it makes me want to do more, but I'm just gotta, thank you.
No
thank
problem.
y'all for even shedding light and giving me the opportunity, because the more you take on, the harder it gets. So
Sure.
Like I said, shout out to y'all. But if anybody is trying to pursue entrepreneurship or even a specific job, right? Because 9-to-5s are very important. They're much more important than the LLC culture may make them seem. At the end of the day, I prefer entrepreneurship, but I learned a lot from my jobs. That's where I got my financial acumen. So whatever you want to do, whether it's a job or whether it's a business, there's a few things you kind of got to figure out that are going to help you sustain your motivation. Number one is your why, right? Your why has to be so powerful that a train can be coming your way and you ain't got nowhere to go and you stuck on that track and you say, I'm going to figure this out regardless. Like, that's how crazy it got to be, because you're going to get hit with some shit. You're going to get hit with some stuff in life that you never thought you were going to be able to hit, but your response to it and how you rebound is going to come from why you're doing it. Why do? I do it for my people. When you do it for your people, how much power, you know how much backing I got?
Yeah.
They all behind me. They with me right now. What we doing? When you have a vision that's greater than a Beamer in a house in Delaware, what we doing? They ain't enough for me. I want to own a whole development. I want to own BMW. That's not enough. Copping out in a suit, pumping my gas. Think you ain't doing nothing, man. What we doing? I want the gas station. Your why has to surpass any level of thinking. If you look at what Elon Musk got going on right now, he's going to space. He done already did everything he needed to do on Earth. That's not crazy. He's going to space. Bill Gates buying all the farmland. Like, they playing a different type of ball. Cool, I'll meet you there. What we doing? I want that. You got to have this why that is greater than losing your job. It's greater than the breakup. It's greater than feeling depressed. It's greater than losing a friend. It's greater than tragedy. The tragedy going to come. Your why. Next, like-minded people. I artificially created my circle, right? I only talk to people who are progressive and want the same things as me, because where are we going to go if you ain't got nothing going on? No, I'm not saying I can't hang with you if you ain't got nothing going on, but you got to want or have something going on. Who you talk to on a daily basis and who you hang out with is going to shape your future. We all know that. So, number one, your why. Number two, talking to like-minded people. I got a homie. It's my dog. It's my brother Rex. Knew him for 20 years. Our secret is manifestation. We get on the phone. We talk for hours. Bro, one day we going to be in New York pulling up in the yours truck. Montclair bubble hopping out, walking dinner reservations. We greet the owner. They know who we are. Play the piano before I sit down. I'll sit down. They come out, the steak sizzling. We laugh, we vibing like, yo, this is crazy. Whole time we got a business meet. We didn't manifest that. Like, we living already and we ain't even got it yet. Like-minded, manifestation, strong why. And I guess last but not least, just be organic. Like, even coming on here with y'all today, I wanted to just be as organic as possible. I think being who you are is the best thing you can be to the world. And you don't need money or wealth in order to be that person. I really admire the people that you see at supermarkets and gas stations, and they be happy as hell. I'm not judging them based off of what they do, treat everyone the same, but I'm like, I don't want to be there at this certain age, but they happier than me. Walking to the supermarket, and I don't even know this dude. He like, man, let me tell you about my son, man. I told him to get insurance. He crashed the car. Now he want me to help him. Like, I don't even know this dude, but we vibe, and I'm like, damn, for real, what happened? Like, so just maintaining your happiness and composure and being okay with where you are, but don't settle and don't feel like, I'm going to end it here. I've been going after introverts and people that feel like being low-key and unknown is better than having a network, because I feel like there's more pros to having a network than it is to being unknown. And I think being unknown and low-key comes from insecurity, right? Not coming at them people any type of way. What I do is want to empower them to pursue what they want and what they want to do in the midst of anything they may have to feel in regards to being restricted socially and not wanting to connect with certain people, because a lot of introverts are so gifted. They hold a lot of keys to the world, but they so in this cocoon where they feel like they can't express themselves because they've been damaged from previous relationships or friendships that they don't like the shape of the world. Man, I really value people who got great things to offer, but be organic, go for what you want. Don't feel like anything can hold you back. You are your own, motivation and inspiration.
I don't even feel like I gotta say nothing else.
That was a great way to close us out.
It's a great way to close us
Great
out.
gems.
Great way to close this out. Where can the people find you at? Where can they find your businesses at? And then how can they connect with you?
So my personal IG is TAE.100. So TAE.100. My clothing line is PLMKR.100. My consulting business is DP Business Connect. My resume business is DP Resume Connect. And then, tap in with me. I'm willing to talk. And then big shout out to y'all. Love y'all platform. I'm a huge fan. It's an honor to be here. And from watching y'all episodes and videos to actually connect with y'all, man. Y'all the GOATs. The things y'all got going on and the message y'all presenting is legendary to me. And we need more people like y'all, so don't never stop.
Appreciate you, brother.
Appreciate you. Definitely. JJ, where can they find you at?
It's just JJ. It's just _ JJ. That's how it go.
Yeah.
My fault if I've been leading y'all astray.
Blondie, where can they find you at?
You can find me at Blondie.
Make sure y'all follow the Studio 524. Shout out to the home team for always producing our podcast, showing us some love. You can also follow us at The Winners Culture on Instagram and on TikTok, because we're on TikTok now.
Yep.
Catch us on that side. Until next time, man, like I said always, tell your mom, your aunt, your sister, cousin, uncle, tell everybody. Share this to somebody today. You never know who needs it. Till next time, y'all, we out.
Holla.
I'll be having a raps. My fault.
No, that was one of them.